Crypto stocks, what is happening? What happened to the Trump pump? This we are about to find out. Well, let me just get into some of the charts so that we can see exactly what is going on here. And number one is Bitcoin is now down to 82. And this right here is something that I am looking at. Okay. Everyone says that it's the end of the world and crypto's going to zero, or crypto's actually going to come to this line around the 74,000, 73,000, kind of go home. Well, right now, this is making a doji candle. Okay. And that is a reversal candle. And this is on the monthly. So chances are, if we close somewhere above 80,000, ideally like 85,000, we're going to see an upward trajectory. And if I look at M2 money supply, well, what has happened with the M2 money supply? Well, it has gone up, went down a little bit, and then has skyrocketed. Where if you look at the Bitcoin chart, we have gone up and then we have tanked. So there's money on the sidelines and investors are waiting to get in. And on the monthly, we are starting to head back towards that 50 of the stochastics RSI. Usually anything above 50 is very bullish, and pretty much bear market territory is down when we are way oversold. We're not there yet. Okay. If we go down to 50,000, then probably we will be in a bear market. But this M2 supply is suggesting otherwise. And truthfully, if I look at the Bitcoin here, let me go to the weekly calendar, weekly chart that's easier to see here. What happened? Okay. And this is on the weekly. And so I just showed you how bullish the monthly looks on Bitcoin here. Let me just show that one more time. Okay. The monthly looks incredibly bullish. It's turning into that doji. The weekly looks even more bullish. And let me get to the CME futures. And really, truthfully, this is what I think has jacked up this entire scenario. I've been around 3 different cycles, and this one has been the hardest to navigate. And why? It's because there's so much institutional investors involved, and they don't lose. They do not lose. Wall Street will not fucking lose. Plain and simple. And so if there's a CME gap, it's going to get filled. And what happens effing every Sunday? Every Sunday, we usually have a big pump or a giant tank, and then somewhat recovery once the Asian markets open, and then the gap gets filled. Okay, so what happened here recently this last Sunday? Well, we dropped and we finally filled the CME gap. Before, if I zoom in just a little bit, you can see we did not fill that CME gap, and now we have completely filled. And to me, this is bullish. We've hit that. We no longer have to go back to previous all-time highs. And now we can continue to go upwards. And this weekly, if this closes like this, this is a very bullish, okay? It is what's called a dragonfly candle. And those dragonfly candles tend to be parabolic to the upside. Probability is on our side. If we look at the stock market just real quick, stock market is continuing to go down. We are trending outside of this upwards trend, which sometimes usually does break down, right? Not incredibly scary, okay, but getting there, because from all-time highs, we are down about 10%. That to me is a typical retracement. If we look back down here, what did we have? We had a 10% retracement before continuation to the upside, and that was around 4,000. When we were down here, this was a bear market. This was a recession, okay, because we went all the way down 27%. A bear market is considered anything below 20, so we've not hit that yet. And so I'm expecting a bounce from around these levels, okay? We might go down a little bit more to 5,400. The NASDAQ and everything is getting hit. The 10-year The 10-year is finding support right around the 4.3. And truthfully, we need it to break below, because once interest rates go down, ideally Trump is wanting this guy. Let me see here. What does the trend look like here? Well, that's a pretty good trend. Trump is trying to get this guy to blow down. Okay. He wants this probably around, he probably wants to get this guy somewhere in this vicinity. This is the target for Trump. And if he can get this guy to get down to below 3, then we're in business. You can refinance the debt. We can refinance our homes. Our credit cards won't be 29%. Cars are going to go down. The economy is going to have a whole lot of money on hand in order to refinance our debt and just go. And look at this. Okay. Everything so far looks oversold, which is a little concerning, because typically you get a bounce with something like that. But Trump is wanting Jerome Powell to cut rates and get this guy down. What is interesting, though, is we had the CPI numbers come out and they were better than expected, which means inflation is going down. So this guy theoretically should have gone down, but no, it went up. So the markets don't know what the fuck to do. And with the manipulation in the crypto markets, nobody knows what the fuck to do. Okay. We have Ethereum, and I'm in a huge Ethereum long. I'm in like 500,000 Ethereum long, and I'm just getting hammered on the weekly. If I look at this, the weekly is looking decent. It's turning into a spinning top. Ideally, I would like us to close above 2,000. If we close above 2,000, I'll be thinking pretty good. But right now, this is acting as good support. If I get maybe some volume coming in here to see where, let's look at that. Okay. So most of the high volume is around 1,600, and I hope we don't go down there. Okay. Max pain has already been attached. Pretty much as soon as we went down below 3,000 and then hit 2,100, that was max pain. But now we are seeing a bunch of people not being decisive. And what I like seeing, though, on ETH is we are staying inside this trend. So if I zoom out, you can see we're in this falling wedge. It's kind of like a broadening wedge that's coming down here, but really the upside is around 2,200, 2,300, right around this area. And so this is acting as major resistance. So typically you have to think of resistance as something that is going to be rejected more often than it is broken through. Same thing with support. You got to act like support is going to hold more often than it is going to break down. Okay, so there is a little bit of a hope there, but not a whole lot of hopium. And if we look here at the 4-hour, which is good to see, is we are consolidating. There's a consolidation. Last time we saw consolidation right around the 2,800 mark, and we did that for several days. And then we had the buyback hack, and those fucking SOBs decided not to buy back. They decided to go over the counter, and Binance and everybody in Wintermute, they just decided to short the market and make all their money back, just play incredibly bad games. But again, they're acting like Wall Street. They're not going to lose here. And I got somebody saying, good morning, right? So if you were down, now's not the time to sell. Now's the time to try to be aggressive. Okay. Because if I look at Bitcoin dominance is at 61. It is holding this trend line. And even the volume profile says that's where we want to stay. And truthfully, Bitcoin dominance being above 60, there's never been a bear market above 60. Usually we drop down below 50. Okay, alts go off, and then anything below 30 is definitely a bear market. But this, to me, this time is different. As much as people say, no, it's not going to be different. It's different because of the sheer fact that we have institutional investings. We have the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, and there's lots of states that are wanting to buy Bitcoin, lots of companies that are buying Bitcoin. I mean, Dubai is buying Bitcoin. Germany sold all of its Bitcoin, but there's lots of countries that are trying to buy Bitcoin. So the dominance is probably just going to go up. And here, if I come back to Ethereum, because we talk about the CME gaps, okay? And let me get rid of the volume okay? Because the volume is just dun, 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 from this chart, it is 2,600. And this is the CME futures. And the CME futures has screwed everything up because they're not open on the weekend. So truthfully, we're on the precipice of guys like Chainlink being able to tokenize everything, tokenize the stock market so it can be open 24/7. Right now, you're playing a game where I'm honestly wanting to get out of trades on Friday because it makes no sense to have a low volume day like Sunday, have it tank or pump, and then just get it completely retraced because of these fucking CME futures. And let's look at this here. So if I zoom in, we have a CME futures gap at 2,500 to around 2,650. Okay, there's a $150 gap there that has not been filled. Every other gap has been filled. Here's a gap that's been filled. Here's a gap that's been filled. And even above that, okay, there is a larger CME gap at 2,900 for Ethereum to 3,000 that has not been filled. So my consensus is, okay, we're consolidating. We're consolidating down here. And yes, the bad news is this is a bear flag, okay, because we have a downward and we're now consolidating. So it may break down lower, but we could also break to the upside because you could look at this as like a symmetric triangle as well. But there's consolidation happening, which is telling me that you have sellers that are exhausted and you have buyers that are exhausted. And here, let me look at the heat map for liquidations. And I should have had this prepared before. Coin glass. And I'll show you how this looks here. Okay, this is on Binance, but truthfully, I want to look at the entire market. Okay, I don't want to just look at Binance. Liquidation map. Okay, here we go. So for Bitcoin, dude, a lot of longs have come out, right? This is looking fairly even now. Over the last days, we've seen this guy just get wiped the fuck out. Okay, so now on the long leverage, we have 1.4 billion, and pretty much the biggest longs are at 81,000. And then the biggest shorts are at 84,000. And so we have 2 billion to the upside and 1.5 to the downside. But if I go to the 30-day, okay, things are coming out. We're starting to almost be more equal here because this before was just everyone just got kicked out. Okay, we got 2 billion and then 5 billion to the upside. So most of the liquidation stuff is above us for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, I bet Ethereum looks a little worse. Ooh, we've got some strong longs at 1,850. Okay, those are, and we have around 700 million and then 1.5 to the upside. So we have a 1-to-3 ratio from longs to shorts here. And if I'm being honest, okay, this is to me the final step before we have alt season. And truthfully, being honest, okay, I did not expect this to happen. Okay, I've missed out because everything is telling you to go long, right? Everything since December, everything was telling you to go long. Any sort of a retracement, Trump was promising the moon. Fundamentally, things were moving, right? So to go short was somewhat to go against the trend, and then it became the trend. And now we have a strong trend to the downside. So if you're wanting to short now's not the best time, in my opinion. You missed it. You should have shorted Bitcoin when we were at 100,000. Should have shorted Ethereum when we were at 3,000. Because pretty much any kind of bad news, and it's been just a sheer exhaustion of bad news, from tariffs to no tariffs to tariffs to the Ukraine war to, no, we're going to help. Oh, no, we're going to take all of our stuff out. To the stuff that's going on between Canada and Mexico. Canada's now cutting off electricity to the United States. Just all this bad news. And unfortunately, we have a president. Yes, I'm saying unfortunately because he was supposed to be the saving grace, the most crypto proactive president. And he's now come out with his meme coin. That was a big downside. He pumped it on Solana when he owned so much Ethereum, right? So Solana bumped and then it instantly tanked down because we had some more bad news for Solana come out. And it doesn't matter if you have good news or bad news. Things seem to just go down. The consensus, the fear and greed is at an all-time low, which everything inside me says that, man, I wish I had money, because there's two different type of investors right now. You have one investor that is going to sell, and then you have another retail investor that has no money left to sell. And at the moment, I have no extra money. Well, sorry, I said that wrong. You can sell, or number two, you have no extra money to buy the dip. There's already been several dips. Okay. I have nothing left to do it. You know, I'd like to sell another house to do it, but that's going to take too fucking long. Right. So we just got to hold out, because I doubt that this is going to happen, because we are supposed to have the crypto summit be awesome, where things were going to reverse. We were supposed to have the Bitcoin reserve be awesome, which it was awesome. But just because we didn't say that we were buying 1 million Bitcoin right off the bat, didn't make sense. Why would Trump be making more debt when he can't print money cheaply? So this is what I need to see go down before things start reversing. It's the 10-year bond. It's the 10-year treasury bill. This guy dictates, because interest rates are based on the 10-year bond plus part of your credit score. And that's where they get your, oh, this is going to be 6% for a car or 5% for a house, right? During his last presidency, we had the 10-year was, where was it? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Let's just look at it. Okay. It started this trend. The 10-year was at 0.5, right? Okay. During COVID, this here was massive when we were just printing a crap ton of money and everybody was making money. Bitcoin, stocks, real estate, everybody was making money down here. That's what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to get this guy to go down. So he's trying to force Jerome Powell to bring the interest rates down. And truthfully, it's going to be a huge win if we get anywhere inside this box. Okay. And that is a percent lower than here. We'll be able to refinance the debt and go from there. And so when is the next Fed meeting? The next Fed meeting is next Tuesday, the 18th. And I don't expect things to really happen. Like, God, I am praying for things to happen, because I'm tired of paying for funding fees for my trades and everything going on. And with the CPI numbers coming in, inflation is coming down. And he said at the start of his presidency that we were going to force Jerome Powell's hand. So how's he fucking doing it? He is calling for a recession. And truthfully, we are already in a recession with Biden. Okay. It's 2 declining quarters of GDP, which we had like 4 with Biden. But the government, you know, what is the famous saying that the most scariest words are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help? Anyway, we're in a recession. We're out of the recession right now. S&P 500 is over 5,000. The NASDAQ is around 20,000. Okay. The Dow Jones is around 40. There's no way we're in a recession right now. The interest rates is the key factor. So truthfully, this is a big day next Tuesday for crypto. Will he do anything? If he doesn't do anything, we'll probably see another tank to the downside. If Powell finally cuts rates again, then boom, alt season kicks off. But if that doesn't happen, we're in for another 3 months of hell. And June is going to be that day where we finally going to see the 10-year drop. We have support. It hits support here. It needs to fall behind this trend line. Okay. And ideally get into this box. That's where Trump is going. Okay. And yeah, I agree. That is what we are looking at. Okay. And again, for Bitcoin and even stocks, this is looking like we've potentially come close to bottoming. Maybe we will see 1,600. Maybe we are dropping below this trend line, which is not good. Okay. But the stochastics look like we're ready for a big upswing. It is close. Bitcoin, okay, is going to do the exact opposite of what most people think. Everyone is calling for 72,000. I truthfully don't think that's going to happen. Looking at this here, I need a clearer chart so it's just easier to see. Looking at this monthly candle, this is looking bullish to me. Okay. Because if you look back, here's a monthly candle. That's a doji. What happened? Turned into almost a retest of the low and then turned into a hammer candle. And boom, we created that double top. Okay. So where we had multiple months of upside. Boom, boom, boom. Down here. Okay. We had somewhat of a hammer candle. Then we had a doji kind of spinning top candle. Boom. Off to 108,000. Right here. That is what we are forming at the moment. This is John in Crypto, here to help you guys make some fucking money. And right now, everyone is freaking out, which tells me that it is time to just tie a knot at the end of your rope. Okay. I, for one, am ready to stop having my alarm go off at midnight and 3 a.m. when all the Asian market is fucking selling their ass off, right? And then watching the stock market open, go, oh God, tariffs, and have it tank, right? We're in for some green here soon. The market is damn close to bottoming if it hasn't already bottomed.